I suppose I'm gonna be stuck reading this to you while I need to be writing chapters 8 through 12. Okay. Book 2, Chapter 1. A trip down memory lane. It looks like I'm stuck babysitting you for while Zizzy and Pony are out on the supply run. Is there anything you want to talk about? I asked the kids.
Was there something that you did back then, when you were a detective that worked with the LPD?
Zizzy asked.
Yeah, we want to know!
Georgie protested. Z didn't talk much, but I could assume she wanted to know as well. Now that I think about it, I'm a little curious too, Grace said to me. You never told me the stories of your collaboration with Doggy and the others. I sighed. I guess it's story time then. Z, Zuzi, Georgie, and Grace sat in a circle, and I pressed down on a stool and then began to tell the tale. It's like I'm a grandfather telling the kids. Sorry. It started way before the infection came up upon us. I began. This is one of my many co-accomplishments with the LPD. Here's how it went. We arrived at the alleys, and Doggy and I only had one goal. All right, detective, you better be right about her being here, Doggy said to me. My investigations led me to this place, I told him. I'm sure that she's here. We walked down the alleyway and saw a little hidden city. Let's make this arrest quick then, Doggy said. I then head into the restaurant to find the red key. In the process of looking for the place to use the red key, I found the purple key and orange key. I then opened the red key door, and there was a puddle of water on the floor, but no wet floor sign. I'll need to find a mop to clean that up later, I thought. I then went to get the orange key to open up that little janitor's closet that I saw in the restaurant. Inside was a battery, purple safe, and scissors. I saw a hotel, which was blocked off with police tape for God knows why, so I took the scissors and snipped away at the tape. Looking at the area, there was a blue key. I recently saw that at the door at the back of the electronics store, so I opened it up. I'm confused with my own writing. Sorry. There was a battery and green key and a number 6 on the wall. It seemed that it was a part of a 3-digit code to open something. Deciding to be considerate, I grabbed the battery to give to Doggy in case his taser wasn't charged. While in the process of doing that, a figure dressed in a striped shirt and wielding a crossbow began to chase me. I ran to Doggy to give him the battery, and he tased the man as they collapsed on the floor. I instructed him to lock him in the police car until we found who we were looking for. I grabbed the green key, then went to the laundromat to unlock the back room, revealing a gold safe and the mop. I took the mop, then made my way back to where I unlocked the red key room, mopped the puddle up, then found another number, 4. The only thing I wanted to know was where these numbers needed to be used. I walked into the building I haven't been in yet and found the gold key, along with the code puzzle that I've been seeing recently. I inputted the first and last digit of the code being 6-4, and there was a door screwed closed, telling me I needed to find the screwdriver. I grabbed the gold key, then dashed to the laundromat to unlock the safe, and it revealed itself to be the screwdriver. I then ran back to the code room and unscrewed the door, revealing the middle digit to be 8. I went back, put in the missing digit, and the door opened. It was her, Willow Wolf. Ah! She screamed. She jumped over the security tape and the puddle of water and hopped through a vent to get back to her hideout. Now I had no idea why she needed to be arrested, but she's been on the news for a while being accused of stealing food. It looked like we needed the scissors, mop, screwdriver, and white key to get out of here. I went to get the scissors in the hotel, as that was where I last left it, as Doggy went to get the mop. We'd met up at the door and cut the tape, mopped the floor, and only the door stood between us and Willow. I went to get the screwdriver and Doggy, the purple key, for I could only assume the purple safe had the white key in it. Meeting up again, We unlocked the door, and it opened up to reveal a cornered wolf. Doggy held his taser up, pointing it at her. "Willow, you're under arrest for stealing food and other supplies from all over the city," he shouted. Willow looked pitiful. "I was only trying to feed my family," she countered. "Please." I felt bad for her, but I came here to do my job. "You know the laws, Willow," I reminded her. "I'm sorry." Just then we hear footsteps coming from behind us. It was the animal from earlier that tried to kill me. "Stand down, Rash," Willow instructed. "It's not worth it." So that's what his name was. "What? Why?" Rash exclaimed. "They'll take us away!" Doggy then faced Rash, pointing the taser at him. "We'd rather do that than take you out," Doggy said. Rash was fuming. He growled. "You haven't seen the last of us." "Quick, detective," Doggy said to me. "Handcuff them before they try to play offensive." Rash tried to hit Doggy in the head with his crowbar, but failed. He was tased again, and I slipped the handcuffs on him as Doggy did the same with Willow. We left Rash and Willow there in her hideout for a moment, and we walked out. "This really doesn't feel right," I said to Doggy, scratching my head. "Yeah, I know what you mean," he told me. "Unfortunately, it's the way things have to be." I felt a bit uneasy. "But isn't there anything we could do about it?" I asked him. Doggy put his hand on my shoulder. "Detective, look at me. We all have a role to play." I thought back to what he said. We do things because we have to, not because we want to. "I guess you're right," I eventually said. "Right. Now, let's get these criminals to their cells and dip." "You coming, detective?" Doggy asked. I nodded. We walked back to the hideout, took Rash and Willow, and headed towards the police car. "When I get out of that cell, it won't be pretty," Willow threatened. Doggy rolled his eyes. "Yeah, right," he foreshadowed. I sat in the front seat with Rash and Willow in the back. Doggy drove to the Lucella Police Department and locked them in their cells. He then drove me home, and I went to my room to think about what he made me an accomplice to. I felt bad for Willow, but she did steal supplies from stores, and that is considered a crime. Since it was the afternoon, I was feeling a bit tired, so I went to take a nap. I went to bed having this on my mind, and it did not go well for me. When I was done talking, I then realized it was only Grace sitting down, and she was asleep. "Grace, wake up." She was startled. "Ah! What? She asked. "What happened?" I totally didn't fall asleep. "Where are the kids?" I asked.
Come on, Georgie, why can't you keep up with us?
Zuzi shouted, it being distant to those inside the building. Grace and I walked outside to Zizi and Zuzi running about in a circle, and Georgie chasing them. "I'm one pig against 2 zebras. What do you expect?" Georgie says, slightly out of breath. Pony and Zizi looked at them, both shaking their heads. "They never learn," he says, face palming. "Oh, Polar and Grace. Just the siblings I was looking for. Are you gonna come?" "What do you mean?" Grace asked. "Pony and I are heading out for a supply run," Zizi explained. "What?" I asked. "I thought you already went on a supply run." We got caught up watching Georgie, Z, and Zuzi chase each other, Pony admitted. "Well, are you coming?" "Aside from getting supplies, what's with the sudden run?" Grace asked. Mimi walked over. "Remember that old radio we found from one of our supply runs?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah, but what about it? Can we get it working?" I asked. Mimi nodded. "Yep, we just need to find some batteries for it," she said. "As we were saying," Sissy started, "other than getting food and supplies, Pony and I are going to the store. Did you want to come along?" We nodded. "Sure," I said. "Let's go," Grace said. The 4 of us ventured off to find the Lucella grocery store and get batteries for the radio. I don't know how we would use the radio once we get it working, however. Maybe it could be used to communicate with any remaining survivors? I'm not sure. We made our way to the store by going through the metro, and there it was, in all its glory. We stopped to recap about this reason that we were here. Zizzy started the conversation.